back around the moneymaker boom, poker was way too passive, right? Like people were limping way too much and not playing enough hands in position and stuff like that. And then there was what I would call an over-adjustment. And by 2010, we're at full over-adjustment mode, and everybody's 7-betting pre-flop, especially all of the European players who were playing on the EPT, and that included Dario Minieri and ElkY Bertrand-Gospelier. And those are the two guys we're going to be talking about in this just massive aggressive pot from 2010.
Yeah, this is from the big game, so it's a cash game. Everyone's bought in. The minimum buy-in is $100,000, so everyone's got a lot of money. It's $200,000, $400,000, I believe, right? So there's a lot going on here, and as you will see, there's a lot going on without a lot of hand going on.
Yeah, and this is just 2010 poker, man. And it's interesting because we're going to try to analyze this from a 2019 scope, but we're taking into account the prevailing wisdom of 2010 and trying to understand the way these players were thinking at the time.
Dude, their chips are writing checks, their hand can't cash.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and you stole it from me, but it's okay, you got there first.
Thanks.
This was suggested on Twitter by Andreas Peterson. If you have a suggestion for the breakdown, tweet at us, include a YouTube link and a timestamp.
And also, make sure you check out Nitrogen Sports Poker. It's the place you go. We're doing a jingle. When you want to know how to get into the tournament for the poker guys.
Do you need to go to the doctor or something?
I'm good.
Are you sure? Like,
Feeling great.
My car's ready to go. You take it to the hospital. Yeah, but the madman has a point. Nitrogen Sports is a great place to play poker, and if you use the link in our Twitter feed when we tweet about these hands, you definitely want to use that link because you get access to that tournament that he was singing about.
Sweet, sweet tournament.
Basically, the guarantees 1,000 buy-ins. We never get more than 100 buy-ins, so that means it's a really good deal for you.
Yeah.
That means there's a huge overlay. You should use the link. You should check out the tournament. You should check out their sports gaming. You should check out everything on Nitrogen. It should get you some poker. Let's get to the hand.
Just because I love saying it, the businessman would do 6.
Oh boy.
Calls 400.
The old under-the-gun limp with the offsuit 6-high 3-gapper plus EV play.
Speaking of Phil's main event win, 2 9s.
Oh! Party's over.
Raises to 2,000. Action on Dario with 10-7 suited.
Dario is in position.
3 bets to 5,600.
Dario knows Phil's steam. Now he's going after that wound.
Ace-queen for ElkY.
ElkY knows Dario knows Phil is steamed as well, and he's out of position, so...
Metagame dictates 4-bet.
What? 13-3.
Lock with deuce 4. Folds.
I was just a stranger passing through town. I don't know.
Just a stranger donating.
Is this for real? I mean, what is it, 13-3?
They put the Malachi Crunch on you.
The Crunch Brothers are here.
The Malachi Crunch. If you can name the show that's from.
Columbo.
Happy Days.
Bingo. You guess my references.
I confuse all those detective shows.
It's a little scary. I mean, it really is.
Phil's in a pickle.
You probably just ship with these hands, huh?
By the way, he might be better, you know.
Give him a big pair like that, he'd just ship it.
Well, technically, you did just fold the best hand. Let's see how loose Dario wants to get.
Just can't take it anymore. This is ridiculous.
And Dario calls.
Dario knows ElkY knows he probably 3-bet Phil light.
Can I just say, I miss this. I miss the naked aggression of 2010. What a fun time to be alive. What a good time to play poker. Nobody had any sense of distribution or ranges. I'm going to 3-bet. I just want to 3-bet. It's great.
While there is absolutely something to what you're saying, and
Yeah.
2010 was crazy. Look, watch old EPTs. It's insane. I'm going to 7-bet you with Queen 6 off. I don't know, because
Yeah.
there at least is a thought process, I think, for everyone and why they're raising here pre-flop. So starting with Phil Hellmuth, very obviously with pocket nines, is just trying to isolate the extremely wide Bill Perkins.
I mean, I don't know if you can say it's that wide. He has a 6.
and a deuce, actually.
Yeah, he's both of the hands.
Yeah, they're
you would want to have both of those.
You can make straights with that, right?
In most scenarios, you want to have the hand.
So Dario's sitting on the button. He sees Phil isolating the super fish. No offense, Bill Perkins. This was 2010. We know you're better now. And sees an opportunity maybe to steal this right now. And then also a fair amount of the time, even if Phil calls when post-flop, because he's in position, he's going to be very aggressive. And Phil is notoriously tight post-flop in 3-bet pots.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
In 2010, they were making what we think were big sizing mistakes because
Yeah.
all of those things that you're saying are great, but it would be a lot more likely for those things to happen, especially the thing where Phil folds, which is what you really want when you have 10-7,
Yeah.
right? If Dario made it a little bit bigger. There's already a limp, there's an ante. Phil's made it 2K, making it 5,600 is not gonna fold out enough of Phil's range to make this a profitable 3-bet over time. It's just not. You've gotta make it like 65, 7, something like that. I understand this was the prevailing wisdom of the time. I'm 3-betting a lot, so I want to 3-bet small.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to like just stack off all the time. But that's not good enough, right? You need the fold equity with a hand like this.
I mean, I agree, but I will say back then, smaller sizing did work a lot more than it works now.
That's accurate, so fair enough.
So relevant to the times, or if you put it in the context of the times, the sizing probably was good enough, but nowadays it clearly wouldn't be. You clearly have to not just price Phil in. They're way too deep for this to work.
Yeah.
Now, anyway.
Also, you'd want like a better hand, like 7-8 suited or a blocker probably, if you're gonna do it anyway.
Usually you do. Usually you do. Okay, so that's Dario, fair enough. And then we, of course, have ElkY in the small blind with ace-queen, and he sees the whole thing playing out in front of him. He sees Phil isolating. He knows Dario's a wild man, and now is looking to just isolate Phil. Not really isolate Phil, but knock Phil off whatever medium hand he has. And ElkY, of course, actually has a hand that has blockers, is good, and probably doesn't play very well as a call out of position to the whole world.
It doesn't play very well if he has to go post-flop at all out of position. That's really the problem. And it's one of those really awkward spots in poker when you're ElkY here, and you kind of know, like, against Dario's range, I'm doing very well here with ace-queen, but any time that I have to play post-flop, it sucks. But if I 4-bet and get 5-bet, I just have to fold. It's like turning a pretty good hand into a bluff. It's one of poker's greatest conundrums. The ace-queen, what do I do when the crazy guy is in the situation stuff?
This is going to force us to pull out our ElkY impressions now, because ElkY would say this is so seek.
So seek.
So seek.
So seek.
It's so seek.
Okay, we can stop now.
I don't know if he talks at all in this one, but man, that guy's got a great voice.
Anyway. I think 4-betting has to be the right choice here,
Yeah.
especially when he knows who Dario is. Maybe if you are playing against some 5-5 regulars and they have tighter ranges, you can just fold ace-queen in a spot like this. But against Dario, you really have to go with a 4-bet. And once again, we see sizing that is just insufficient for what we want to do, especially out of position. 13-3 over 56. Dario's going to have to call 7,700 to win 23K.
Yeah.
That's way too good of a price. He's going to have to call with so many hands. Maybe he's going to fold like ace-4 offsuit, but he's going to have to call with so many hands. This is problematic. Part of this 4-bet is we just want to win the pot right now, right?
Yeah, so if ElkY sizes this up, I think he's going to be much more successful, I agree with you, in getting Minieri to fold. I will say this, whatever sizing we're choosing, wow, are we really effective at getting Phil? I think Phil's going to fold a way better hand than 9s here, even though he's complaining about the 9s. Maybe ElkY doesn't mind being isolated against Dario, even though he is out of position. At least he's got a big range advantage on Dario.
It's ace-queen
At least he has
offsuit.
that. I know, it's not
terrible.
great. It's not great.
You don't want to.
No, he should make it a lot
Dario's
bigger.
going to put you in so many tough spots post-flop. You don't want this spot. You want him to fold.
This should be at least a $20,000 raise.
Yeah, but it's 2010, and we can't blame these guys because this is just what people were doing, and it felt like the right thing to do at the time. Dario now, of course, is aware of the price and has to call with a hand as good as 10-7 suited.
It's true,
which
in
is
position.
Problematic for ace-queen here.
Flop 6-4 jack.
Pretty disappointing flop for both players, though. ElkY with the best hand and the pre-flop betting lead.
ElkY fires 16-6.
Dario's got nothing but some backdoor draws. Not a lot he can do here. Oh yeah, I forgot. He can bluff.
Oh, and he does. Raises to 35K.
This is a really awesome raise. Dario's pretty much accurately put ElkY on the exact hand he's got. For this play to be profitable, ElkY only has to fold less than 1 out of every 2.5 times. And some of those times when he does call, Dario will catch up.
ElkY is not a believer. Makes the call.
Oh my god, this is so seek. So seek.
Turn king of spades. Still nothing for anyone, and ElkY checks.
ElkY still has the best hand. He's picked up a gut shot draw as well, but he's checking to the new aggressor. There's 100K in this pot already.
Minieri checks. River. Jack of spades.
Changes absolutely nothing. ElkY with only ace-queen high, but still the best hand.
ElkY's done. He checks.
Dario may have a shot at stealing this pot if he can pull the trigger.
But he checks it down.
Ace high.
And ElkY wins 100K with the ace high.
That is a white flag for sure from Dario Minieri. We're going to talk about if he should do that. Let's talk first about the flop, where ElkY decides to bet. It's a pretty dry flop. He just wants to end things, right? these days, once again, the sizing is different than it would be in 2019. He bets over 16K. We would have probably bet something more like 10K to 12K with the dry flop and an inflated 4-bet pot in a time like 2019. But that's a different time. Dario decides, I want to raise.
Why did Dario decide this?
Okay, so Dario, the best guess that we have is that Dario is right in believing that he has more of the small sets. ElkY is probably not going to have the small sets played this way, right? 4s and 6s. So he can rep those better than ElkY can, but ElkY clearly has a range advantage when it comes to the big pairs. ElkY has aces, kings, queens. Dario doesn't have nearly as many of those.
Yeah.
It's Dario. He might even be 5-betting jacks. I don't know. So that means he really has just those small sets and maybe sometimes a set of jacks that he's repping, but he's saying, I have those and you don't, ElkY, except ElkY does have a set of jacks in his range, clearly.
Yeah, he clearly does. I think, Dario knows that ElkY can have jacks in his range too. But yeah, the 6s and the 4s, Dario probably has and ElkY probably doesn't. So that has a little bit of value, but like you're saying, we don't think Dario really has aces, kings, probably maybe not even queens here.
Knowing that guy, probably not.
Yeah, he's got way too many like light pre-flop 5-bets probably that he just has to put in all his strong stuff too, especially back in 2010. I would think anyway. So the question really becomes is, if he can't get ElkY to fold the big pair, then all we're really targeting as Dario is under pairs to the jack and ace king and maybe ace queen, right? That's it.
And guess what? That's not going to work out either.
Clearly, it's not going to work if ace queen doesn't frickin' fold to this raise. That means nothing's folding to this raise, right?
So ElkY calls, and if we're going to use the distribution argument, which didn't really exist back then, at least for most people, ace queen would be a fold because that is very low in ElkY's distribution. But if ElkY's just using a pragmatic approach and he's thinking, okay, this is Dario Minieri, I know this guy by reputation, we've played before. This is a dry board. What is he raising? He's not raising a 1-pair hand. He doesn't have jack 10. He doesn't have ace jack here. I'm not worried about that. So he's repping literally just 6 combos basically, and maybe sometimes sets of jacks. So maybe we can give him up to 9 combos. But also he's Dario Minieri, so he has infinite bluff combos. I don't know if he was thinking combos, but you know what I'm saying. You guys get what I'm going for here. So he thinks, okay, ace queen is ahead. So I need to continue in this hand.
I mean,
the question is a call the right way to continue if you think ace queen is ahead?
That's really the thing. Like, it's maybe you think like Dario's so polarized, there's no real value in re-raising, but my concern would be, aren't we just going to get bluffed off this pot so often on the turn if we just call here?
It's so much easier to call with 2 10s or 2 queens, a hand that like Dario can't randomly improve to beat, right?
Comparatively, right?
Yeah.
But this, like Dario can have, you know, whatever, 7-8.
You could have 7-10 suited.
Or 7-10 suited.
Yeah.
Hit a 7 on the turn and suddenly be ahead. That really sucks.
Right.
So I think I like a re-raise or a fold here better than a call. Although if ElkY could see the hands, he doesn't hate just calling. But the question is ElkY going to actually station him all the way down with just ace high, assuming the board doesn't help him on the turn or the river?
Yeah, we'll never know.
Right.
Because Dario doesn't go for it. Now, why doesn't Dario go for it? That's the next question. The turn is the king, and you would think, oh, that's in ElkY's range, but from Dario's perspective, he's probably not putting ElkY on ace high, which means that ElkY doesn't have ace king, at least not too frequently from Dario's perspective. So the king shouldn't be that scary to Dario as a card that's like, oh, now ElkY's definitely going to hold on, right?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I think what's going on is Dario is, maybe because he has 2 back doors, I'm just throwing this out there, if he improves in any kind of equity situation, meaning he picks up, you know, an 8, he picks up a 9, he picks up a heart, something like that, he'll continue. But since he doesn't pick up anything, and it looks like ElkY is not going anywhere now, it looks like ElkY has aces, kings, or queens mostly, or maybe even jacks. This is just a bad idea to keep firing. Dario, I'm sure, assumes he's folding out ace, queen, and ace, king on that flop.
Yeah.
So all that's left are overpairs, or hands that are not deciding, I'm stationing you, Dario. So he's just giving up, which I like.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I think maybe if you're going to take a shot, you should take it on the turn versus the river if the river is going to be this river card, which is a jack, because ElkY now can have ace jack and definitely have played it exactly like this, and now you're never getting him to fold. And Dario doesn't really have any jacks in his range when he raises the flop. So it makes sense to give up on the river, especially I think if you're going to continue trying, the turn is a good time to do it. But it's not the worst give up in the world overall, I think.
I mean, I think other rivers you could decide to take a shot as Dario if ElkY checks again.
Absolutely.
Maybe I can get you off. Although, what are we, 10s now? Maybe I can have a king, I check back the turn because I got there, and now you check again on the river, and I just have to take a shot because I actually have 10
it's
high.
not going to work that frequently against the majority of ElkY's range, but the jack is a card that it's really not going to work on. So I like to give up there.
Yeah, the story is terrible, and we can't do that. We're not R.L. Stein here, am I right?
Definitely R.L. Stein reference. Good.
Goosebumps. It was a different era back then. men were men, and I don't know,
What are
Europeans were Europeans.
What are you
I don't
saying?
know. But I will say, wow, how about that whack hand by ElkY and Dario? What do you guys think about these decisions? Do you like what Dario did at all? Do you like ElkY's call on the raise on the flop?
Are they just clicking buttons?
Feels like they're just clicking buttons, but are they actually? These were two of the most successful players back then, and they're still around even today. We're not sure how
At least
successful.
ElkY is. I don't know if
Yeah.
I've seen Dario for a while.
It's harder to know.
Yeah.
But let us know in the comments what you think about all the different decisions these guys made, specifically mostly Dario's decisions pre-flop and then to raise the flop, and ElkY's decision to call the raise versus folding or re-raising.
Yep.
Love to hear what you have to say on that.
That was 35,000 real dollars that ElkY had to call on the flop, and that's a cash game. And cash games are beautiful because there's real money involved, and it can get scary, and maybe that's part of why Dario gives up, but it didn't scare ElkY enough. But anyway, cash games are fun. We have cash game breakdowns. I don't know, I'm trying to say that
It's a good transition.
Cash game breakdowns, and that's, you know, you can
All
click.
of that was just click this if you want to see more of us talking about cash games.
Sometimes, you know, it's hard to do it.
Hey, if you want to hear us talk about cash games, tournament games, all the games, you got to check out our podcast, The Poker Breakdown, presented by the Poker Guys.
No,
Poker
the Breakdown Poker Podcast with the Poker Guys.
That's what
So
it's
you
called.
weren't really very close that time.
Close enough.
No, I don't think it was close enough. It's
45 minutes of goodness.
It's the Breakdown Poker Podcast with the Poker Guys. Also, by the way, this is a video. It's on YouTube. If you liked it, make sure you subscribe.